Hello, Howard Baxton here. Going to continue on with our little project of getting this pad working so that we can sit. To do this, we're going to follow our instructions to setting up the default card and adjust. And right up the top of this note card, we see says we're going to use the nPose blank loaded pad that we used or built from instruction card 1 for this set of instructions. Step 1 here is to edit the nPose pad, which I have, and then it says go to the contents tab and edit the following card, which is the set default. So if we go over here to the contents pad, scroll down, we see the set default, and as you remember, that was a blank note card. So now that we have that edited, go to step 2, it says add the following lines. And here are the lines, and what I notice here is first number in this position vector is 0, and all 4 of those are the same. And then we've got a little bit of an offset for the y-axis, and the z-axis is all the same. So I've just kind of separated them apart on the y-axis so that we can grab the adjuster we want. So let me go ahead and copy this and grab our default card and paste them in. Now that we have them, it says save and close. It also says be sure that the meditation animation file from our box of animations has been added to the build. So we'll check that and make sure that's all done. So let me save and close. And now I think we can close that as it said, and we're looking for the meditation pose, and here it is. So we have the meditation pose in there. That is the pose that the default card wants to use for each of the 4 sitters. Okay, so everything's great there. So in step 3, it says here, now we are posed with a problem in that this default card has not been read by nPose. Well, there are instruction lines inside to finish the setup. So those instruction lines we put in the card and saved, they're there, but we need to somehow get nPose to run this card, and there's several ways we can do this. Step number 1 is to reset scripts. As we knew from the last setup, or the last instructions, when we reset, nPose will run the init card first, and upon reset this card, nPose will run the default card when it's finished, because we've named that as our default card. This line here in our init. So it's going to tell nPose to go ahead and run that card for initial setup. That's the first card in our list. There's another way we can do this. Number 2 is edit and save the init note card, and that will cause nPose to reread it and then send it to the default card. Or the third way, we can click the menu button with the default card on it to run the default card. And if we touch this thing, we see we do have that default card button in there. So down here I start writing. I'm one of these guys that really doesn't like to reset scripts. So I'll usually do everything I can to correct the issue at hand before I bend over and finally reset scripts. So then I'm suggesting to try steps 1 and 2 to see if everything's working properly. And we can erase the adjusters and watch above them to see what happens. So let me go ahead and go to Utilities, Admin, and res the adjusters. Now it says we're still in the init note card. And obviously everything's exactly the way it was um, after only running seat and knit. So let's go ahead first. Let's go ahead and try to run the default card and see what happens. As you see now, each one of these, seat 4 is running the set default card, and it's running the animation named meditation. Seat 2 is the same, seat 1 is the same, and seat 3 is the same. Everybody's running the medication. So we just fixed the problem by doing that alone. So now if I sit, I'm going to sit in seat 1, which is where this guy is at. So let me sit here. Boom. I'm way down in the basement somewhere. Just to show you that we can actually do this, let me reset scripts while I'm sitting there. And as you see, I'm still there. First thing you saw me do was my avatar popped up into the center, which is where it would have been after running the seat and knit. But then the next instruction says run the set default card, and that's where I ended up. Now I'm going to caution you in that these adjusters really aren't going to work now. As you see, if I move it up, myself up, you don't see me raise up with it. So these adjusters are basically dead. So if I go to the utilities, actually nPose forgot everything. It forgot I had that menu up there, and it forgot I had these adjusters. So we touch for a new menu and go to utilities, then go to the adjusters and stop adjust. Those adjusters will go away, and we can just click the adjust button to res new ones. Now if I move this one up, you're going to see that I'm going to move up with it. If I move any of these others up, come up and see the Animesh adjusters. Okay, so that all worked. So now let's go on and move to step 4. It says right click the nPose pad, touch, menu will appear, navigate to utilities, admin adjust, 4 adjuster bars will appear, one for each seat that was named in the seat and knit. Edit adjuster bars for seat 1 and move it to position. Okay, I'm going to stand up here and use the Animesh as my guide. I'm going to edit this guy, and I'm going to move him over here to where seat 1 is, and rotate him around to where he's pointing to the middle, right there. Maybe adjust him up a little higher, maybe move him in just a little bit. There he is. Now let's go look for seat 2. Seat 2 is this adjuster. He needs to move back here somewhere. He needs to move over here somewhere. And he needs to be rotated in like this. That's fairly close. Seat 3 would be the same, so let's move him back down here. Move him over here. And rotate him towards the center. Seat 4, he needs to be over here. And move him to the center. Maybe I should take another closer look to see where he's at. He's a little bit in there, so let's move him back over here. Okay, and you can see that all these numbers have come up. And if we look at all of this, we see that these are all for seat 4, so I've adjusted him several times to get him there. if I were to go over here and click on pose dump, it's going to give me seat, get out of there, seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, and seat 4, and it tells me we're running the default card, set default on each and every one of them. So let me just grab these, copy all 4 of those exam lines, right click and copy. Let's go down here to the pad and open up the default card and just replace all of those things. Paste. Now I can do the cute little work of cleaning it up. Get rid of all this extra stuff that comes in handy when we need it and not so handy when we don't need it. Now we've got them all in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got the new adjustments in there, rotations, positions, everything. So if we save that, we're all set and finished. Now I guess I should go back to what we're doing here. I think step 4 was where we're at. And we've got all of these. Now this was a quick run through on adjusting. And we have a link here to the wiki to copy and paste into our browser and go to this thing here. And it says adjusting poses, and it walks you through the whole entire process that I just did in just a few seconds in my video. So all of these, there's quick reference syntax, there's exam lines, you can read all about the exam lines. There's even one called do card. I'm not sure exactly why I put it in this instruction card, but it's there. Seat and knit, what it's all about. The default card, what it's all about. Note card names, which we've done there a little bit. And some talk about the end menu system. So we've got all those links available to you. I must have changed something in there. Let me save that. Okay, that's all I have for this one, and we've completed now instruction card 1 and instruction card 2. We'll see you in our next video.